So I'm going to start from the bare basics. This is what an empty Moodle shell will look like when you first get it. I'm sure most of you have seen it, something like this. This is called the Snap theme. We also have a very old theme called Classic or Clean. That has been discontinued, and we don't recommend instructors use that format. It's more vertical. For two reasons, because it's not built because Snap is built from the ground up to be accessible, and Moodle has stopped supporting or providing tech support for the clean theme. But I mention this because some instructors will inherit older courses in this format. And if you have a course in this format, it does function this way, but if you would like help converting to the new more modern format, you can contact us to help you. I'm going to stop my video share just in case for internet. My internet has always given me a little bit of trouble. I'm also going to show you the home page. So I'm sure everyone has seen this when you open Moodle. I would just like to remind you that we do have updates, like you can find more trainings here, any announcements, and further down towards the bottom, we have lots of resources for you to explore. Like if you have a question for us, for an ID or some kind of Moodle question, and it's after hours, or you just want to find it yourself, you can find this information here. We have a step-by-step walkthrough, which is the Moodle Basics for Faculty, which is a more intense version of this session. We won't go nearly as in depth as this Moodle course does, but so you should find almost all Moodle answers here. And then we have a course development tutorial that is more about the pedagogy. It's primarily video tutorials that are very short, about 2 to 10 minutes, but it's a very good way to learn. I prefer videos myself, but it's all about your learning style. So there's a few resources as well as under the accessibility resources. We have a digital accessibility hub. That's something very important when you're building a course to make sure that your course is accessible. Because if you find out that you have a screen reader a week before the semester starts, you're going to have to scramble to make your course accessible for them. So just building that from the ground up to be accessible will save you a world of pain in the future. So that is another resource. You're always welcome to contact us with any questions as well at our email. All right. My throat's bothering me today of all days. So up the top in the top left, we have our breadcrumb trail. These menu item links will grow the further you dig into your course. If you have an assignment open or forum, and you can always navigate back by clicking on these links. We have the title of your course should be here, which is also your home page button of your course, which will lead you to your introduction topic. This is the home page, your topic. You can include your welcome message, your contact information, as well as if you automated things created like the announcements forum. Every course should have an announcements forum, and this course, if you click on this, it will open up into your traditional forum. And if you click add new discussion and post a discussion like this, not only will it post here, but it will also send out to everyone's email that is enrolled in your Moodle course. So it's a really good and efficient way of contacting your students. And they can also always come back here to find past announcements. Oh, the microphone issues. There we go. Is that better? All right. Yes, okay. And now, by default, everyone will have 16 topics to share their content, and you can navigate them in your table of contents here. If you would like more, you can always click create new section. And underneath that is your course dashboard. It's one way to access your gradebook, as well as a few other settings here. I can see who's online, or just me. You can customize these topic names. You can also move them around with clicking this arrow button and navigating to where you want to go. If I click this, it will put it above topic 16. I don't want to do that, so I click cancel. I can hide them by clicking the eyeball button. I can delete it by clicking the X button. And I can highlight it. And this will make the new home page. So if I navigated around like this, and I want to go back to the home page, and I click the home button, it'll bring me to that highlighted topic and not the home page. This could be useful if you want to manually do this for every topic that you explore. So students are led right to your active topic. One thing to remember is when you have a hidden course like this or topic, students can still see the name of the topic. They just can't open it. So some instructors will use topics to store files they don't want to use, or past activities that they just want to save just to see. And then there's a way in our settings to completely hide this topic, or all hidden topics, completely hide them. I'll go to that in a second. All right, and then top right is your course or your admin button. Right now, it opens my course administration settings and the menu items. These menu items will adapt to whatever you have open. So if I had a quiz open, these menu items would be catered to that quiz specifically. Right now, because I have a topic open or the whole course open, this is for the entire course. I can adjust my settings. I can view my users. I can create groups. I can access my gradebook. This is a good feature if you're actively editing your course. You can back up your course as you build out. So in case you do something wrong or something gets deleted, you can always restore below it one of your old backup files, and it will save you from lots of headaches. As well as importing. This is a very useful feature. So if you teach an online class multiple semesters, you can simply import your past Moodle course into your new shell, and you don't have to build out the same course every semester. I have a few settings that aren't available to your average instructor because I do have higher privileges because I'm an ID. So if it looks a little bit different from what your menu items look like, that is the reason. There's also a question bank. This is where you build out your questions, and it's like it says, an entire bank of questions. And so when you build that out, this makes quizzes easier. So you can just sprinkle these questions or randomize them, and it makes it easier to reuse them throughout the semester or through other courses. Recycle bin, this will restore past activities. So if you accidentally delete a quiz, you can restore it in your recycle bin, but it does not save written content like a book, which I'll explain what that is in the future. And that's about it. Oh, and then we have a feature called Switch Role To. This is very useful if you want to see how your student would traditionally see your course. You can select student. And now it hides all my editing buttons. And this is how a normal student would see your course. If you want to go exit out that, you can go here and click return to my normal role. And there we go. I'm going to go to my edit settings to access my course settings for the entire course. You could change your homepage name up here. So if you wanted to shorten it, I do recommend that you shorten your topic names if they're very long. They have lots of numbers and unnecessary information, just because it looks more clean. It's more about your preference. Here, you have to, this is a very common thing that instructors do. It doesn't matter how experienced you are, but a lot of instructors forget to show their course at the beginning of the semester. By default, it's set to hide, so students can't access your course. And so the first week in the semester, students will be very concerned and panicking if they can't see their course and get lots of emails. You'll get lots of emails, we'll get lots of emails. It's a fun time. Just make sure to remember to click show on your course. Under here, we have by default, it's set to topics format. The other format is weekly. It will make sense when I click save. And then here's the hidden sections. By default, they're shown in a collapsed form, so they can see the name, but they can't access the topic, or they can be completely invisible. Down here under force theme, it's set to snap. This would be relevant if you want to convert to snap, from classic to snap. This is where you go do that. You can choose to hide your gradebook from students, but I recommend always showing the gradebook because students like to see their progress throughout the course, and they can adjust their performance to fit that. And also just it motivates them to engage and do better in your course if they can have active or live display of their gradebook and grades. Completion tracking is a more advanced special feature. This is a good feature to use if you want to gamify your course, and this is a more advanced design feature that we can help you with if you are interested. But this will just track whether students have completed an activity or not. And then you can customize what happens if they do or do not. And then you have to turn on group mode if you want to have small groups, like small group discussions. And yes, this will be where your main banner will be located, but which will make sense when I upload one. All right, so now see, because these topic names were empty, they auto-filled with the date. So it treats each topic like a week. I recommend using this linear format, not necessarily just a date, but treating each topic like a week, because that's the way students are used to going through a course. It doesn't fit all course formats. Some courses work better with, every 2 weeks in a topic, or it could be a week and a half, whatever works for you. You can customize this, but if you're just starting out, it's simpler to treat each topic like a week. One feature is with this course is as you progress through the course, if we're in the week of September 2nd, it will automatically highlight that topic and treat it like the home page, and it will automatically go through each week and highlight it. I'm going to go back to my settings to revert that back to topics. Another fun way to give some visual design to your course is adding a cover image. So I can click here, up here, click add or change cover image. Ooh. I want to go find my image wherever it is in my course. You cannot see my file explorer, but I do have my traditional file explorer open. I would select an image from my computer. Diana, I believe it's a Sunday. I never actually pay attention to that. I believe it's a Sunday, or maybe a Monday. I don't know. I'll have to check that again because I've never considered that. But you can customize that in your based on your course start date, and we can help you out with that if you need help. And there we go. There's the course banner. If I like it, I can click save. If I don't, I can click cancel. When you upload an image like this, you want to make sure that it's dark so the white text can be read on top of it. And you want to make sure it's not too busy, just for readability. I'll click save. And ta-da, there it is. Sometimes you'll get this message that says it has contrast problems. What you want to make sure is that the top left has that dark, that low contrast and dark view, because sometimes it's not the most accurate, so you can ignore that. All right, so I'm going to go to topic 1 and unhide it just because. Ellen, so they're course banners. You can go to our home page and then go to Moodle Basics for Faculty and go to downloadable course graphics. So you can use most images, like you can use personal images or royalty-free images, but we do have a variety of graphics and icons and text dividers that you can download and upload yourself. You will go to cover banners, select a file that you like or image you like, and click download down here. So that's one way you can do that. And these are all created by either me or the student graphic designers with UM Online. So they're locally made, locally sourced. All right, so when you're building out your course, I recommend designing a skeleton in your very first topic, and then repeating that design throughout the course for every topic. So if it's a weekly to-do list, a watch a video, and then submit an essay or submit an assignment or a quiz, just have that similar format every topic, so students get used to your design and know exactly where to find things, and having that consistent layout. So here under edit section, this is how we edit that individual topic. I can customize it, the name. And then the summary is you see at the very top of your topic. I recommend putting here, you could put a little video. I really highly recommend using a weekly to-do list, because this is the first, I'm losing my voice. This is the first thing that students see when they open your topic, and it's what grounds them. So if they can see every single item that they have to complete before the week is up or before the due dates, they can see it without digging around or forgetting things or getting lost, and they know how to prepare for that week. When you're planning out your week, I recommend having things due at 11:59 p.m. instead of midnight, because that's less confusing for students and they less likely to misunderstand you and submit things late. And having everything due, or a common practice is to have everything due, say, Sunday at 11:59 p.m. You don't have to do this, but one of the advantages, or one of the reasons students register for online classes, is so they can have a flexible schedule. So having everything due on a Sunday gives them room to make their own schedule and adapt to your course. So to create a weekly to-do list, I can just type out the name, and then I would write, I don't recommend manually writing out your list items. So if I say 1.2. so on, because this isn't accessible. If a student with a screen reader was navigating your course, it would read out every single list item. It would read 1, ... 2, ... and in order to go to, say, item 4 out of 10 items, they would have to re-listen to the same thing over and over again to find a specific information. Instead, I recommend using the list tool up here. You can either use bullet points or numbered lists, and you can write your things out here. So if I read, watch, submit. So a student with a screen reader, there's special code attached to those list items. So if it's an actual list, they can skip 1 and 2 and jump right to 3, and it saves them time and energy. And then I click enter to create a newest item, or click enter again to exit out of that list. Now there's another feature called headings that I recommend you use. Visually up here, we got heading 3 through 5 or 2, 5. It visually just makes the text bigger. In the background, there's some code attached to it that assigns, I guess, maybe a hierarchy and treats them kind of like buttons. So students with screen readers goes to, if it has a heading 3, and then I have, let's say, overview, blah, blah, blah. I have a heading 4, which is, so it's inside that to-do list with that weekly, I guess, I don't know how to explain it, like the weekly to-do list. Visually, it's slightly smaller than that, but because it's a heading, they can skip the entire to-do list and jump right to the overview section. And so if you have a lot of written content like this, they can jump back and forth like little buttons. And so that is, so it makes their life, their learning experience a lot more positive. You can bold, italicize, and underline, as well as apply different colors, and these are all accessible colors. So students who are colorblind can still see these colors. When you are using colors, I don't recommend using colors to convey information. So if you say everything colored pink is due Thursday, and everything blue is extra credit, someone who is colorblind or someone who is using a screen reader, they can't see those colors. So if you can use color to emphasize information. So you could say due Monday, but I could add a color to that and bold it, so it's very obvious that it's due Monday, but it's not conveying any information. It's just emphasizing that information. All right. So you can share, a fun thing is you can share videos. I love sharing videos because it makes your content more engaging. It makes it a more fun experience for your students. To share videos, you would open a video you want to share. You would go here and find the share button under your YouTube video. Your immediate instinct would just be to copy the link and paste it, and that is
I think we might have lost Sierra. I'll give it maybe another minute to see if she catches up with her internet connection. Okay. Just wait another minute to see if she can reconnect.
hello.
There she is.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm glad you're here, Louie. All right, let me start over. Okay, is my microphone good? Is it choppy?
No, you're good right now.
Okay. All right, pretend that never happened. So
Sierra, I think maybe
so
streaming.
YouTube video open. I click share. Hello.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
loading a YouTube page is what's causing the bandwidth issue.
That's so specific. I haven't had trouble with that in the past, but I got the code. So when you have that video open or that share button open, you click embed, And then you would copy this big block of code. And we do have tutorials on that as well, Moodle-based faculty, that will walk you through that. I got the code. Now I want to click show hide buttons or more buttons, and then click this HTML button and opens the code. Very scary, but don't worry. So you could just put it at the very bottom, or you could write, if you have a lot of written content, you can write embed video here. It could be anything really. And then you would find that text, simply select it and paste your text there. And so now if you see iframe, that means it's your embed code. Now click the HTML button again to exit out. And ta-da, there it is. Another thing to do that's very important is to properly hyperlink. So some people, or some instructors will simply paste your code like this, and that is, it's fine, it still works, but it's not accessible. Because a student with screen reader, when they come across this link, it would just read out https, / moodle.umt and so on. And if it's a very long link like that, they won't know where they're going, and it's a long thing to read out, and so it's not accessible. What you want to do is write a descriptive title like this. Select the title, and then select the chain button up here, or link button. It looks like a chain. Paste your link. I recommend clicking open a new window. This just opens a new tab so they don't lose their place in your course. Like this. Ta-da. Something that is also commonly done is just writing click here and hyperlinking like this. That's not recommended because it doesn't tell a student with a screen reader where they're going. Their screen reader has a technology that can cherry pick every single link in your content and list it out. So if all your links say click here, click here, click here, they don't know which link, where they will go. Like they won't know what to click. And so have to navigate to every single one to find out the one they want to use. And that's not fun. You can also undo here, adjust your text alignment, and we can also upload a image. There's 2 ways to do this. Like most things with technology, there's always 100 ways to do one thing. Hi, Ellen. So for Moodle, for video embedding, I want the homepage. In Moodle Basic for Faculty, we have instructions on how to do it under adding content. And then embedding videos. I'll put that in the chat really quick. I would show you now, but my internet hates YouTube right now. And so this has a video tutorial as well as step-by-step instructions on how to do that. All right. In order to upload a video or a video image, you can either click that insert an image button up here, click browse repositories, choose file. That'll open my file explorer. And I click upload this file. And I'll just skip this part for now. And there it is. And the other way to do this is to simply have your file explorer open above your Chrome. I can't really show you right now because you can't see it, but it's for as simple as dragging and dropping. You would just select here. I can change my share to, there we go. Can you see my file explorer?
Yes.
Okay. So I would open my file explorer and I would click and drag, click it and then drag it over here, and it will, there it is. That's my favorite way because it's faster. Yeah, but either way it works. Now what you want to do is double click on an image to access the settings. It's very important that you describe the image for someone who cannot see it. I would say computer surrounded by plants or whatever works. If it's simply like a purely decorative image that doesn't convey any information or isn't really relevant to what they're learning, you can simply enable this image is decorative only. We don't recommend having text in your images or using complex diagrams because it'd be very complicated to explain. And if you do have a diagram or something that's very complicated, you can write underneath that image explaining what the information is. You can also adjust the size of your image by clicking here and manually entering the number and just play around with that and see what works. You want auto size enabled or it will squash and stretch your image and it doesn't look good. And then alignment is the way text aligns with your image. I can click left to just show you. And there you go. And now it's wrapped around the image. All right, save changes. All right, and there it is, nice and beautiful. I recommend having a weekly to-do list for every single topic, like I said earlier, and just having that consistent formatting. If you want them to read something first, then watch something, and then submit something, make sure you repeat that format here. So I would have the reading resources first, then I would have the video, and then I would have the assignment activity for them to submit to. And just so it's orderly. Now I want to create learning activity or click create learning activity. This is where you go to build any, you could click that. And they're divided by two different types of activities. A little confusing because they're called activities and resources. Activities are things that students interact with, like a forum or an assignment, quiz. Those are probably the most popular and easier, more intuitive features to use. And then we have resources. Oh, side note, Panopto is a very popular or very cool feature to use to upload and share videos and edit them as well. And we will be having a training session soon that will walk you through how to use that. Resources are things that are like written content that you want them to consume, like a video, written content, like I said before, or files that you want them to download. I like to organize them or say that use them for what kind of size content. Let me just rephrase that. Think about what the size of content you want to share. Label, that was so well spoken. Label is for small content. Pages is for medium amounts of content. Book is for very large amounts of content. Folder is for multiple files that you want to share. If you have more than 3, I recommend putting those in a folder. First, I will start out with a label. Labels are kind of like sticky notes. They just float on your topic and display. I will write to label sample. It has the same type of everywhere where you have the option to put text always has the same menu options. Click save and return to course. Scroll to the bottom and there it is. It floats around like a sticky note. Now for medium amounts of content is your page. So example, in the description, you can simply leave it blank. If you do write something, keep it as brief as you can. I like to write click read more to open. And then write page content here. And then now it's a collapsible form of sharing content. So you click read more to open, and there it is. So small amounts of content for little notes, or you can put a graphic here. Pages for longer amounts of content. Because when you're designing a course, you want to reduce the amount of scrolling. So you don't want them to be scrolling for 5 minutes to find a specific document. And also, we want to discourage clicking away from the course. So just keeping everything within Moodle will help maintain their learning flow. Now for large amounts of content is the book. So book example, I'm going to leave the description blank, save and return to course. Scroll to the bottom, and now it looks kind of funky. We want to click open it to start adding our chapters. It would automatically prompt you to write a chapter. So write chapter 1, content here, and save changes. And there's our first chapter. In order to start editing this and adding more content, we want to click turn editing on. And now these little buttons will appear under each chapter. I can re-edit it with this gear button. I can delete it, hide it, or add a new chapter here. So you can simply make a normal chapter, or you can create a sub chapter, which is just within that original chapter. Save changes. And there we go. Make sure you always turn editing off before you navigate away from a book if you have editing on. And then I want to go back to that example topic by going to my breadcrumb trail, clicking the name of the topic. And there we go. There's the beginnings of our book. So you can see how that would fit a lot of content. The content in Moodle Basics for Faculty, I believe everything in it is displayed in book form, simply because we have a lot of written content that aren't from outside resources. Here's some example of how you could use labels. So you could use a label with a text divider to break up the content and activities in your topic. And here are some examples. Right, and now a folder. So create learning activity, resources, and folder. Folder example. I like to recommend that you be a bit, I guess, thorough with your description or instructions. So if you say read all files in your weekly to-do list, repeat that instruction in that description, just so it leaves less room for students to misunderstand you. So read all documents. Now I want to, you can do it one by one. It's the same process as we upload a file or image. We did it like we did earlier. You click that upload file button, choose file, select it, and then upload this file. So you can do it that way, but it's a bit time consuming. I like to recommend just having your file explorer open like this, clicking on your first item, holding down shift, and jumping to the very bottom of your list. So you select every single assignment or file that you want, and then dragging and dropping like this. And there we go. By default, display folder contents is set to on a separate page. I don't like this display format because it requires them to open the folder to view it, when simply displaying it inline on a course page makes it already open on your topic, just so it's just easier to access. And it'll make sense when I save. So save and return to course. Scroll down, and there's all our files. So I can simply download one file at a time by clicking the title of the file, or clicking download the entire folder all at once. The other option is you could either go to file and do it one by one like this, or you could have you could do the drag and drop technique like this and simply drag and drop it here. I don't recommend this because it creates a lot of visual busyness. There's a lot of blank space. And if you had 10 different files that you wanted to share, it would be hard to find them. So it's a lot less space with the folder. As you might have noticed, for every activity I have created, there's these 3 buttons underneath it. So we have a move icon, so I can click that, click the arrow icon. I can select more than one at the one time, so now I'm moving 2 objects, and I want to move to the very top. So I click move here at the very top, and there it is. I can go back and edit the item by clicking the pencil icon, and then clicking the 3 dot icon. I can delete it or hide it or duplicate it. Duplicating is a really useful feature because, like I said earlier, you want to build out a skeleton of your course in the very first topic, and then repeat that across the board. So you can build out your skeleton and duplicate every item like this. And it will add copy to the end of the name. And I'll click the arrow button and then go to the next topic and click move here. And so you could repeat that for every topic. So it saves you a little bit of time. You cannot, unfortunately, you cannot duplicate this, the description area. So you have to go back and retype that out. All right. I'm looking at my list to make sure I'm going over everything. Let's create an assignment. So going to create learning activity, going to activities tab and selecting assignment. So assignment activities aren't used to assign tasks that don't require an upload. The assignment activity is so that students can upload something to you, whether it's a document or an image, things like that. So I will name this assignment. You want to be thorough with your instructions so there's no confusion. If you have it in your syllabus, you can just copy and paste it in here. Just be as clear as you can be. Yeah, yes. So upload a, and so on. You can also, if you have a rubric or a worksheet you want them to fill out, you can go to common module settings and go to additional files. And then upload that here. So if it's a rubric they fill out or an example of the assignment, you can upload that there. Display description on the course page just so they can see the description without opening the assignment. I recommend doing this if your assignment description isn't super long. And underneath that is a due date. You can go and just go by one block, but it's easier if you just click the calendar icon and select the date. And then, like I said before, doing 11:59 p.m. Instead of midnight. So here we go. That would be 23. Then over here is availability. Allow submissions from is how early they can submit, or students can submit their assignment. The cutoff date is how late they can submit their assignment. And in order to edit these, you have to enable it first. Submission types. You shouldn't have to mess with this, but there is an option if you enable online text. This is so they don't have to upload a file. They will have a text box like this where they can manually type in their response, and then you can require a word limit this way. When you're using the online text setting, make sure to instruct students to write out their submission somewhere else on their computer, because if something happens or they lose connection or they're somehow exited out of Moodle, they won't lose all their work because it won't save it. They have to click submit first. That's just something to note. Let's see. Under grade is where you can assign the points. I would keep the type to point instead of scale, just because it's less complicated. And there's some more advanced grading features that will be probably going to be gone over by Jeannie Castillo in our next gradebook workshop. And those are the basic settings. Click save and return to course. Scroll to the very bottom. And there it is. There's a description displayed on the page. And then there's that rubric I want them to download first. If you do include a rubric like this, I would make sure to say download the attached document, just so, like, again, reduce confusion. I recommend repeating yourself multiple times in different locations. Don't go overboard, but just reiterate yourself, because it's easy to forget things when you're learning online, when you get lost, or you read something and you don't look at it again for another week or two. Just think about how a student would begin navigating your course and engaging with it. All right, and see how all those files I uploaded, they're taking up a lot of space, and it makes scrolling. The more I add, the longer it takes to scroll. So I'm going to delete these because I think they're inconvenient and not user-friendly. All right, now forum. Activities, and then select advanced forum. In your description, I recommend writing what you expect of your students and how you want them to engage with the forum. We've received feedback from students in the past that they don't like being required to post and respond a certain number of times. So if you can be a little bit vague about it, like you can say you'll be graded on your participation. That's vague enough that they'll hopefully be active in the forum, but it won't be as strict. Also, maybe explain what types of responses are graded. So you could give an example or give a rubric of how you're grading their posts. Yes, and then when you are creating a forum, I recommend that you are active in the forums. You don't leave it you don't look at it until it's the last minute to grade it. If students see that you're in the forum, if you're in the forum responding to students, it doesn't have to be super in depth, but you can say, oh, good idea, Karen. I agree, or like you can just little things to encourage them and say that, oh, you're in this forum, you're watching them, you're making sure that they're doing a good job. They'll post. They'll post more and engage more with your course. Diane, unfortunately, you cannot set due dates to forums. It's very annoying. Hopefully Moodle will change that in the future. But the only way that you can really set due dates is you can say due by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. And students will hopefully be done posting by then. But also, when you grade forums, you can see when they post. See if they posted after your technical due date. But unfortunately, it's not a feature in the forum activity. And you can also hide the course here after the due date, so they can't so that it's not possible for them to post anymore or past the due date. The downside of that is they can't go back and look at their posts or other students' posts or responses. In my experience as an online student, I enjoyed going back and seeing what people said up in response to my post. or any feedback they gave me. Oh, that is a feature too, Louis. Restrict access under here. You can add a restriction and do that, but by date, but it won't, in the Moodle gradebook, it won't count it as late. It'll just lock it. So that's Ellen in the chat. So if you want to do small group discussions, that's a bit more complicated. You would have to restrict by group. But if we go to Moodle Basics for Faculty, under creating a forum, then go to discussion groups. This will walk you through how to do that. And also all the IDs at UM Online, we'll be happy to walk you through that as well. If we have time at the end, I could walk you through that, but we shall see. All right, yes. So make sure to be thorough in your instructions and your description. And then forum type. There's 5 different types of forums. Some of them are very similar. Some work differently. It can be kind of confusing. The standard forum is it's good enough. It works, it functions. If you want to get more fancy, there's a Q&A forum, which is kind of cool. The Q&A forum hides every student's responses and posts before you post. So if you're a student and you go to post, you can't see what anyone else is saying, and this helps encourage originality. So students aren't just saying, "Oh, I agree with this person," or just kind of restate what another student said, but like edited a little bit. So they can't see what everyone else says until after they post. And I think the cutoff, I think it's 15 minutes after they post. Was it 5 minutes? I think they changed it recently, but there's a timer on it.
They did change it to a 5-minute.
Oh, great. That's better than, I think it used to be 30 minutes. So a single simple discussion, here, I'll show you these examples. And creating a forum, scrolling down. Standard forum and a single simple discussion forum are very similar. So standard forum, they would just click add new discussion and post their discussions here. And then you would go into that, you would click that discussion post to respond to them like this. There's their own little bubble here. Standard forum in a blog-like format displays the images without opening them, but it's very similar to standard format. Here's the Q&A forum. It's hard to show you because I've already posted, I can see everyone that replied. But with the Q&A forum, you would click and add discussion post first. So you would write your prompt in that discussion here. So my prompt is pineapple pizza good or bad? And then they would respond here. And if they were responding here, they could see who posted, but they couldn't see the actual text. It will give them a little notification saying, you can see this after you post. So instead of the students posting a new discussion, you post that discussion. And then each person posts one discussion is very similar to the other ones, but they're all pretty similar, they just function a little bit. So they can only post one discussion. The rubric here, that's just something I created, like I just Googled like a forum rubric and I kind of put my spin on it. This is actually a table I created within the text editor, or you can also use a bootstrap grid. That is a feature I could show you very quickly like here. So I click, there's either a table or a bootstrap grid. I prefer bootstrap grids because they're more accessible, or I guess they're easier to edit. And then you would write select your the type of grid you want, saying, you know, 3 points, and then say is well thought out. And then you would do another grid like this and say 2 points, meh, and so on. And then you just go on like this. This little outline here has a special, it's a little trick I did in the code. It's a very simple thing to do, but if you're not familiar with HTML, it might be confusing for you. And you can work with an ID if you are interested in getting a more advanced text styling like this. But that's just a little example of how you could do that. And then a single simple discussion. We don't have an example of that, but it's just because it's very similar to all the other forums. It's simply, you would write your prompt here and everyone would respond below. The difference between all the forums is whether you write your prompt to the forums here in this description of the activity, or you post a discussion post here. Yes. So just experiment and just see what works for you. All right. So there's lots of different settings that you can do. They're not super relevant. You can go. I'd recommend leaving them alone until you get familiar with how forums work. But something is very important. If you do want to grade forums, you have to go into the grade setting here and set it to manual, and then assign your point value. If you don't do that, it won't be graded and it won't create a gradebook item. So for every activity I create, like an assignment, it will create an item in my gradebook. So you have to do this if you want it to be graded. Like save, return to course. If you have categories, you can also assign it here. Like I could put it in forum participation. Yes. And then this is where you would go to, if we have time, this is where you would go to assign groups. If I want different types of groups to be broken up. Don't want that. In the groups. Now save and return to course. It always appears at the very bottom of your topic. I'll click that to open it, and there we go. So this is how the simple discussion works. You would write your prompt here, and then everyone would write a response here. There it is. It's beautiful. Well thought out. 10 out of 10. There we go. We did a forum, we did assignments. Just looking at my list, making sure I did everything. Quizzes. Now quizzes are I enjoy them. I think they're a very cool feature. But when something that's very important to remember if you want to create a quiz is to give yourself plenty of time to build it out. Because you have to manually create every single question and adjust the settings and make sure it functions right. And that can be very tedious. But once you have created all those questions, it's a very simple thing to actually create the quiz. And also, if you want to reuse those questions in the future and recycle them, it makes quiz creation way easier once you have your questions created. So create learning activity. Under activities, use the quiz. Now, quiz example. The description, you want to, again, be thorough. You could talk about what kind of topics or that this quiz is talking about, how students should study, if it's timed. Just try to be as clear as possible here. Like you have 16 minutes covering 5 through 10, and so on. Display the description on course page. And so you could time it. When you want to open the quiz, when the quiz is closed, and then you can enable time limit, so 60 minutes. You shouldn't have to edit this setting, but I wouldn't recommend you edit it, because by default, it doesn't matter where the student is in the quiz. When the quiz is closed, it automatically submits their questions. You can set it to be like attempts have to be like they have to click submit at the end of the quiz, have to complete it. And if they don't, and the time's up, they can't, or the quiz is closed, then they can't, it's counted as like they didn't do it. So I would just recommend leaving it like this. The grade is how you is where you can add the category if you want to have like you get 80% and you pass the quiz. How many attempts they're allowed. By default, it's 1. You can give them a certain number, or it can try as many as you want. With quizzes, they don't have to be big exams. They could be little low stakes quizzes if you just want to test their knowledge and make sure they're paying attention. It could be a good way to have a good technique would be to have low stakes quizzes like once a week, so students can take this quiz, not be afraid of it drastically affecting their grade, but then they can also get an idea of how much they're really absorbing from your lectures, your content, and say, oh, I didn't do so great in this one quiz. Maybe I should go back and pay attention and reread that article or rewatch that video. And also it gives them something to do for each week. If you have, say, the majority of your grade is based on 2 big essays and that's it. That is not, it's hard for them to get feedback and give them an idea of how their course is going. And it motivates them to be present in the course and check their course every week if they have a to-do list. It engages with them and makes sure they're grounded, which is something that's very important when you're teaching online. It's easy to even forget that you were enrolled in an online class because it's online and life is hard and life is stressful right now. And it's just, if you have something to do, it makes sure that they're keeping up on top of their coursework. So yeah, lots of little things that you can edit and mess around with. So review options are a bit complicated. And we can go over this too if anyone's interested, but I'll just explain what it is. Review options are how they review their quiz, obviously, after they click submit. So during the attempt, they can see where they got it right immediately. Immediately after the attempt, I believe is like, I think it's 30 minutes after they click submit, they can see, you can tell them whether they want to see like the point value they got, whether they got the right answer, or like you can write specific feedback. It gets a little complicated. Later, where the quiz is open, is like the quiz is still open and students are still taking it, but students who have finished that quiz can go back and see their feedback. Probably the most relevant one is after it's closed. So it's making sure that students aren't sharing their answers. If you do want to make sure that they know whether they got the quiz questions right or wrong. After the quiz is closed, everyone can go back and see that feedback. That's about it. Overall feedback is whether you can give them feedback saying, oh, if you got 100%, good job, or 60%, hey, like this isn't great, please contact me to review your options, or just something like that. And this is not necessarily just like fun advanced features that you can explore. Yep. Save and return to course. Actually, save and display. Save and return to course is just, it goes back to that topic as you've seen. Save and display saves the activity and then immediately opens it. So when you have an empty quiz like this, you'll immediately see these menu items. This will disappear once you've created your first question. After that, you would go here and click the admin button. See how it edits or opens the menu items relevant to this activity. So if I wanted to go back and edit the description or the name, I would click edit settings. If I want to start adding more questions, I go to edit quiz. If I want to preview it, how a normal student would see it, or how they would experience the quiz, you would go to preview. User overrides is a useful feature because if you have students that need accommodations or extra time, you can click that, open that, click add user override. I have no students in the class except me, but you would select them from the list of students, and then you can customize these. If you want to give them earlier access or later access, if you want to give them extra time or multiple temps, and you can do this by individual students. So that's important to know. I'm gonna click cancel because I don't want that. I'm gonna go back to quiz and click edit quiz to begin building it out. So that's empty. I'm gonna click add and add new question. If I've already built out these questions in the question bank, I can click from question bank, but that's empty right now. So I click add new question. And then there's multiple different types of questions that you can use. Some of the most popular and easier to use are the all or nothing multiple choice, essay question, matching, multiple point or multiple choice, select missing words, short and true and false. So I won't go into super big detail into these because it can be a lot. It's not something I recommend just getting in there and exploring how things function, because it's easier to understand how that works if you get in there yourself. But I'll give you a brief summary. All or nothing means that there's only you only get 100% or 0%. There's no partial right answer. Essay means that they will have a text box that they will be prompted to fill out. So if you want them to write a small essay, this is the only question in all these question types that isn't automatically graded. So if you want something that's, if you want less work, if it's just like a low stakes quiz, maybe just avoid that question. If you want it to be automatically graded or fully automated. Matching is it just you just match different answers to each other. Multiple choice is your traditional multiple choice question. Short answer, I don't recommend using this because it's very, I guess, mathematical and very calculated. So if you say, what color is an apple, or is this apple, and you say like red, but you misspell red as in read, it'll count that wrong, even though it was the right answer. You just made a mistake. It'll be, it has to be very specific. And then true false is obvious. I'll go ahead and click true false, click add. I'll give it a question name. So this helps for you to, if you want to go back and edit this, I could say apple. True apples are red, or something, whatever makes sense to you. Like they are apples red. And then you would go down here. Is the correct answer true or false? The apples are red. So I'll click true. And if I want them to say if they answered false and got it wrong, I could say go back to chapter 1 and so on. You can say, oh, you got this question wrong. Go back to this resource to improve your knowledge of this topic. Click save changes. And there it is. There's our very first question. I can click the gear icon to go back and edit it. I can adjust the point value. This is the maximum grade is the total points available or marks available. If I want to preview it, I would click this button here. This is a preview of how it would function, not how students would see it. You just want to make sure it functions. So if I answered false, I click submit. And there we go. You can also click up here, like I said earlier, click preview. Here's what students would see. I'll click false, so I want to be wrong. Finish attempt. Submit all and finish. And there we go. There it is. I can't see my because I wrote that feedback that says go back and read chapter 1. I can't see it right now because in my settings I didn't enable that. So that's something important to remember. If you go to Moodle Basics for Faculty and going to quizzes, you can see live examples of how this will work and how they would function. It's important when you're learning how to create a quiz that you go and experience it and make sure you fully understand what the answer, like how these questions truly function. Yeah, so I encourage you to really get in here, dig in here and explore this if you are considering creating a quiz, or you can contact a Yuma Online ID and we will help you. Oh, okay. So I'm going to go back to the example topic. All right, so those are all the main activities and resources that you can use. There are a few other things, like there's a lesson feature or lesson activity that is very fun. I kind of compare it to a point and click adventure, but that is a more advanced activity. So if you are familiar with these basic Moodle features or activities, you can explore these and see how far you can push it and experiment. I'll briefly mention H5P interactive content. That is an advanced feature that we will actually be having a workshop on, or a training workshop in the future. I'm not sure when yet, but it's very cool because you can create more engaging content rather than just some text and a video. Though that is perfectly fine way to display your content, you can push it farther. Like the accordion, like this. Image hotspot is very fun. So you could have a diagram like this and have them labeled. These are all very fun things if you have the time to explore these. Keep an eye on the homepage for an announcement of when that training will be up. I do recommend you attend it if you have the time. All right, so at the end of the semester, make sure you back up your course once it's all built and good to go. Make sure you always back it up just in case. And then at the end of the semester, you'll want to export your gradebook to be able to submit those grades. You can't submit them directly from Moodle. That's just something to remember. I believe that's all. Are there any questions? We can go over anything more if we have the time. So feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like and speak up, or post in the chat if there's anything else you'd like to know.
Sierra,
yes.
Sierra, this is Diane Burke. I have several shells that are pretty old, and so I'm going to be converting them. Are there any good rules of thumb or things to watch out for when I go in and select the snap format?
Just make sure to give yourself the time to do the editing. Because when you convert to the snap format, things will be kind of messed up and might be a little confusing, or so just make sure you give yourself plenty of time. And also, we're here to help. UM Online IDs are here to assist you.
Okay, thank you.
And also, I forgot to mention the grade book. I won't go into it, but that's just, you could go here to click grade book to select it. But I won't get into it because we do have workshops right after this on how to edit your grade book and organize it. But this is just how you would access it and how you would adjust your weights and move things around, put things in categories. All right. Any more questions? Any goals or things that people are concerned about in their future courses? Okay. Well, that about wraps up about 10 minutes early, which is the record for me. Let me know if you'd like me to reiterate something, because I feel like I sped through it, because I know it's a lot I went through. It's a lot to learn. Yes, Ellen. So you can go under faculty resources. You can email us, and that emails the entire UM Online ID group. And you can also contact me or Louis, and we can help you or direct you towards another ID, another instructional designer. You can also contact IT for technical help that isn't Moodle design related. Yes, so I highly encourage you to explore Moodle Basics for Faculty and really dig in there, because once you become familiar with the way Moodle functions and how you can build things, it can actually start getting a lot of fun, because the stress of learning how to do Moodle is done, and you can have a good time and experiment with how you can adjust your course. Yes. So yeah, thank you for coming. That wraps up the live Moodle Basics faculty.